Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spirit Coffee Talk. Myself, Elise, and Ginette meet every week over a cup of coffee and discuss all things spirit. We are channelers and mediums and intuitives, and we've come together in this amazing space every week to bring to you things pertaining to spirit that are prevalent in the energy or upcoming events and that kind of stuff. So if you're just tuning in for the very first time, welcome. If not, we've been here for about 2 years, ladies.
Yeah. Craziness.
So there's some like good binge-worthy episodes. But
yeah.
Today I'm super jacked about this. We're doing a series called Meet Your Spirit Coffee Talk hosts and get to know them on a spiritual level. So we decided to every week kind of just zone in our attention to one beautiful lady. And this week we are getting to know Elise.
Drum roll. I don't have drums, but I have chimes. Chime roll.
My dog just started barking because I was.
That's funny.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh. Who's there?
Oh, poor dog.
Oh, gotta love that. All right. So, Elise, so I mean, people that have been watching for a while already kind of have a sense of who we are, what we're about, what we share. And sometimes though, it's fun to kind of get a little bit more behind the scenes of the person.
Yes.
What motivates you, what's like a little more about Elise. So, my first question, Elise, is what did you want to be when you were little?
A Walmart greeter.
Really?
I shit you not. Yeah. That was like when I was little. We lived near this Walmart and obviously we shopped there a lot. And yeah, I said to my mom, I was like, that's what I'm going to be. As I got older, I was really into like whales and dolphins and the sea, which is ironic. And I acknowledge that if you
yes, I'm sorry, that's pretty funny.
Maybe when I was a cute, sweet child and I didn't have all of, my human trauma, I like was connected to my life in the sea. Yeah. I probably had a life in the sea and was like, oh, very drawn to it. And now I'm like, absolutely not.
However,
so I wanted to be a marine biologist, which I think,
remember in Maui though, when we 3 plus Lois were
you
in Maui,
were a water bum.
First one in the water before me and Lisa. Lisa's like, yeah, I don't really do water. Whoop, ocean. She was like,
and then we bobbed in the water for like 3.5 hours that day.
Yes, that is true. I've seen a lot of shark videos since then, so I might have undone some of my progress, but I feel like it's also very situational for me. We were at a restaurant last night and they had this like imagery of like this ocean with like all the like long weeds. And I was like, not a chance, 0%. I would ever not, it's not going to happen. So, so yes,
marine
Walmart
biologist.
greeter, and then it evolved to a marine biologist. Yes.
And birthday girl. Okay.
Yeah.
So what star sign? What's your sun, moon,
and rising
sign?
Yeah, I am Libra, Pisces.
Ooh.
So Libra,
water.
Yeah,
all three of those are water.
No, Libra's air.
Okay.
Yeah, air, water.
Yeah, feels, emotions, and feels.
Okay,
which explains a lot, really. It does. It adds up. But yeah, I found that interesting when I did, because I was like, oh, I'm a Libra. And, I'd read my horoscope in, People magazine or whatever and be like, I don't know. And when I did my first astrology reading with a professional, not just trying to figure it out myself, and she's like, oh, you've got all this Pisces. She said, you're probably going to actually resonate more with Pisces than you would with Libra. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I feel like as I've gotten older, I see more of my Libra self. But I think my Pisces, because it's such a big part of my internal world, I see that a lot more effortlessly.
Right. Yeah.
Libra, Pisces.
Okay. I have another question for you then. When or what was your most defining moment where you felt like you were something more, where you felt connected to the universe, or that there was something more?
That was mine.
Oh.
Ooh. My first or biggest? What did you ask? Or it
Ooh,
doesn't matter.
let's hear them both.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Okay. Biggest, I would say, was one of my Egypt trips, where I connected in with some of the specific energies. And it was this experience of like, it was one of those really strange spirit experiences where it was like, it was nothing tangible, but it was everything tangible. And I don't know how else to describe it other than like, you could not give me $1 billion to say that was not a real experience.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth in which I understood all that was shared with me through this goddess energy and just all of it, I just like, it just changed everything after that. And it changed how I saw myself. I think it changed how I started to identify with a lot of the like parts of myself that I didn't like, or that I was really like, ugh, that's gross, and would judge a lot and hold a lot of shame towards. And yet it was so intangible, but it was so tangible. So I would say that would be probably one of the bigger ones, because that really created like a tangible shift in my own spiritual experience.
Yeah.
I would say my earliest, I don't have a ton of memories from childhood, but, or I would say one of my first was when I was just out of high school, I think. Yeah. And I had just started school and I was on a family vacation. And I remember feeling like I was like in HR school and going to business school and, you know, whatever. And there was something in me that was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's fine. It's going to be good. Like I was having this internal dialogue. I was on a bus and I was having this internal dialogue with myself, like melancholy looking out the window, like in a movie. And there was music playing in my mind. And I like was having this internal dialogue and thinking, there's so much more than what's happening. And now I know that was my higher self speaking to me. But at the time, I wouldn't have defined myself as like a spiritual person. So I just thought I was talking to myself. I'm an only child, so I talk to myself a lot. And there was this whole conversation that I had with myself of like rationalizing why I was going down the road I was going down and how it made sense and how it was the smart decision. It was very logical. And this conversation just took this path of like, you know, there's so much more, you know, and not to say that that isn't meaningful work. It was. And I enjoyed it for a time. And it brought me so many skill sets that I use now that if I hadn't have done that, I'd be curious what that path would have looked like. It was just a really, not to go down like a huge whole tangent about it, but it was a really profound experience. But again, nothing but everything. And it was just this whole kind of internal dialogue that I had with myself around, I really don't feel satisfied in where I'm going. I don't feel like I have access to a whole lot of joy in my life. And this higher self aspect of me was speaking to me, telling me the way to go. And I was like, I'm good. Shush, shush. Because I didn't know that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And how old were you?
I would have been like 21-ish. Yeah.
But you never forgot that. See,
No.
that's another thing, is that you never forgot that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it's one of those memories where I can like remember what I was looking at and remember what I was seeing, like all of the different aspects of it. I can just like whoosh, bring myself back into that moment. Yeah. And it felt like nothing at the time, which is so funny.
Right. What was your first mediumship experience?
So the way it manifested for me was not like, oh, I see a dead person at the bottom of my bed. The way it manifested was I would say things and then be like, oh, where did that come from? And I had done it my whole life as a child and in my youth too. And I remember my mom said to me when I was young, and again, for me, a lot of my mediumship, I really just like thought it was just my brain. So I just kind of ignored it. And I remember my mom saying to me when I was quite young, why do you say the things that you say? Like, where do you get that from? And not in like you're a little shit. Stop being rude. It was like you say these mature, like knowledgeable things and you're like 16, you're, 12. Why are you saying this stuff? And you're wise beyond your years and all these things. I was like, I don't know. I just, I'd usually make a joke of it and be like, I'm just smart. But I would say these things. And what really started to click for me when I realized, maybe this is something, is usually they would be repeated back to me and I couldn't really remember it. Like I realized it's not a thought. It's not a brain, say these words. And I couldn't trace the train of thought. I couldn't remember exactly what I said. Sometimes it would just be like completely gone from my brain. And then other times I could remember pieces of it. So for me, that's how it started to manifest early on. And then it wasn't until I met Ginette. She's like, you're medium, right? And I'm like, no, that's why I'm seeing you. So tell me what my dead grandpa has to say. But yeah, so that's how it manifested early on without me really realizing it.
So question then, how long from that point of kind of like recognition did it take for you to embrace that truth that you could communicate with spirit?
Well, I would say it was only the initial like people pointing it out to me. It didn't really land for me as far as like, oh, this is, me pulling knowledge or connecting to a higher energy or power or whatever. Even after that conversation of being told like, yeah, you're a medium too. I started playing with it, but I had a lot of doubt. I had a lot of fear. Not so much in the like spirit, but in the judgment and like people are going to think you're crazy, and being open about it. I didn't know how to talk about it. I just felt really unsure of myself. So for me, it took a while. It was some of those then really profound experiences. So I would say it was like, I was playing with it really privately for probably a year or two. Can't remember the exact time frame, but it was probably about a year or two where I played with it privately, or would talk with people that I trusted or knew that I could share and not get judgment or like, what are you talking about? But it's funny. I remember as I was going through that process, learning and actually having a conversation with my dad at one point, and him telling me that he had prophetic dreams and and I remember being like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then remembering like, my mom is pretty intuitive too. She would never admit that, but she's called things that not many other people would call. So as I started to kind of feel into and get an understanding of like, oh, okay, this is a much broader thing that I actually think everybody is intuitive and, just varying degrees and how much you want to put energy and time into developing it. I started to be more open with it, but I would say probably like a year or two. I can't remember the exact time frame in that period, but yeah, took a minute.
Fair.
I was nervous.
True.
Don't judge me.
Okay, I have another one. Out of all of the ETs in the Galactic Federation that you are aware of, which one could you see yourself as?
I was going to ask her which planet she thought she came from too.
Okay. So how about same? Both. Answer both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Answer them. Well, so for me, what comes up first is Lyran, which is what that experience in Egypt really connected me to. That's their planet, right? I don't even know.
Lyra.
I'm very, Lyra. I'm very like, I don't know. I just talk to whoever shows up. I don't do my research always. So yeah, I would say Lyran would be one of the many, but one of the things that I learned about myself, and again, I didn't really own it for a long time because I thought I made it up. It was kind of in that period where I was like, I don't know. I did a past life regression. And I had said in that past life regression, I haven't had many lives. I haven't lived a lot. And the person asked me like, how many times? And I said less than 10. And then afterwards he was like, that's not common. And I was like, oh, I must have made it up then. That must have been not true.
Like you mean on Earth or in general?
On Earth.
On Earth.
Okay. Yeah. And so I think I've spent a lot more time in the ethers than I have on earth but I didn't own that for a lot of time because it felt like, well, he said it, that's not, very real. So maybe I made it up, or maybe that was my brain, or it was my first past life regression too. So I wasn't super confident in my ability to go into that, not him, but like my ability to get there. So that put a block for a long time because I just thought, I think I'm just making things up about myself. So I would not often I would have such a hard time differentiating between my brain and what I was getting, that I put a lot of blinders on around like what my experience was with ETs and who I was in other lives and other experiences. And I lived more as a being than I did on this planet. Like that doesn't make sense. And I put a lot of rules around it, which is why now I talk so much about like, it's just so infinite, and I don't want to ever poo-poo on people's what they get about themselves, because it's just, everything is so infinite and more than we could ever know.
Absolutely.
I think that that's accurate, Elise.
Yeah.
I don't think that you've come to Earth a whole lot.
No. Yeah.
I think you chose to come here this time because it was time to help raise the consciousness here.
A conversation with you and Maui that I think we've talked about, like, it was like a beautiful mind where all of the things like coming together, where they're all the like signs and symbols, not math things, because I do not know math, but like all of the things. And I was like, oh my God, it's all coming together, where like, yeah, my poor meat suit has had a real hard time because it's like, what is this thing driving the bus?
That's all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was such a spiritual conversation. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
What was one of your biggest in your life, most pivotal moments?
I would say the ones I've talked about, but two. My dad dying just changed my human experience fully and wholly, and how I view emotion and how I view hardship and sadness and grief. I love grief. I think it's really beautiful and painful and a shitstorm that is so like not talked about. And so that's why I do a lot of the work that I do around our ability to hold our emotion, because that was just such a life-changing experience for me, going through that whole grief process.
Totally.
And what came of that. So that's a big one. Meeting John as well. I want to write a book one day about how we came to be, because it's crazy sometimes when, we're just in life. We've been together over 5 years now. And I'm like, oh, yeah, mortgages and whatever. You're really slow. Don't talk to everybody at Costco, please. We got to go. But then when I like connect back into the energetics of how we met and the craziness of that, having dreams about each other.
Yeah. You dreamed about each other before.
Yeah. A year before. And we had never met. Mutual friend, but I couldn't have picked him out on the street. I had no idea who he was. And Spirit gave me this. I had this whole dream of like watching our love story unfold. It unfolded in that exact way, except they only showed me his eyes. They wouldn't show me his face, because I probably would have gone in and mucked it all up. And then not long after that, it was right before my 30th birthday. Not long after that, I had a clue or an inkling that it would have been him. And I wrote in my journal his name, ? And then didn't see him, like never met in person for, oh gosh, that was like, October. We met in July, and I had completely forgotten about that. Like they had wiped that fully, wholly from my memory. So then when I went back after I met him and was like, oh shit, I think this is the whole thing. I went back and I was like, oh my God, I wrote his friggin' name like 6 months prior.
Wow.
Yeah, it's such
because they're like, it's not time yet.
Yeah, get the out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah, craziness. So that has also been a big one.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Amazing. Yeah. You have to write a book about it. People would love that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That'd be cool.
Okay. At least one more question from me. I have one.
Okay, you go, and then I have some quick fire questions.
Okay. Last one. For me, what do you love most about life? What is your most favorite thing about life?
My most favorite thing about life is, I think, our ability that a lot of us don't realize we have to like fully and wholly experience it in an actually really beautiful, safe way, even the awful shit. And that without the awful shit, the amazing stuff doesn't feel as amazing, because we need that contrast. And I just love that we as humans have this innate ability to experience both. And I love being able to like unravel that in a really deep way, because I think it's like the key to us being able to move through things. And I say that being like, oh, it's so easy. It's not. It's a lot. But I just think it's like, it's been such a learning experience for me since my dad died, and it's changed how I view the hard stuff really deeply. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Lisa,
Amazing.
rapid fire.
Okay,
Let's lighten her up a little.
Ready? All right.
I'm nervous.
Okay, we're gonna start with the easy ones. Okay.
Okay.
Favorite movie?
Barbie right now.
You too.
Yeah.
Favorite TV show?
Ooh. This Is Us.
Favorite book?
Ooh. Diana herself.
Ooh. Favorite meal? Like if you got to choose your last meal, what would it be?
Anyone who knows me knows I have such a hard time picking a favorite anything, so this is very challenging. Favorite meal, I'm gonna go pierogies.
Oh my God.
Ooh,
That's what I was just thinking. I'm like, I would
love
pick pierogies.
Sorry, I swore. But, pierogies.
Favorite crystal?
Ooh, my Lemurians, and also the one, I don't remember what, it's a quartz of some kind from Mount Sinai that I was actually just thinking about, where is that? Because I haven't seen it since I moved.
Ooh, so that's okay. Favorite goddess, angel, or spirit guide to work with?
Oh.
Lights out.
We just turn on the lights.
Done. We're like, no more.
Don't talk about it.
So I would say, I'm gonna say my spirit self, higher self.
Your higher self. Very cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Your favorite season?
Fall. Love fall.
Favorite Taylor Swift song?
Oh Lord, all of them.
Gotta pick one.
I would say, oh my God. I'm panicking. I can't think of one. I think of all of them. You know what? This Love, is that what it's called? It's on 1989, one of the end ones.
Ooh.
That's
It's
a good
so
one.
beautiful. Yeah. All of them.
Okay, something unique about yourself that people probably don't know.
Something unique about myself. Well, people probably know this because they see my face often, but I am very emphatic in my face, that sometimes it gets me into trouble because I like will do things or say things with my face without saying things. And then it's like, okay, at least get control. I frequently, especially in the world of Zoom, it's like, get control of your face immediately.
So funny.
Okay, the last one. If you could tell your 20-year-old self something right now, what would it be?
Buckle up.
Buckle up, buttercup.
Yeah, but in a good way, not in like a, oh shit, but in a like, there's gonna be a lot, but you're gonna be surprised. You thought, similar to what we talked about in one of our previous the Dark Night of the Soul, where it's like, ooh, you think that it's intense now, but just wait. But also on the other side of that, you have so much more capability to actually move through it and not fall apart.
Beautiful. Amazing. I love this.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Elise, for being so open and vulnerable today, and letting us have that little kind of inside view of Elise. And obviously it was just, we kind of got into some deep stuff, some more fun things, but it was really nice to be able to just focus on you as the beautiful, amazing, wonderful human that you are, and that we love you so, so, so much. And I have loved getting to know you so well over the last 2.5 years and spending time with you in Maui. And it's just, you were one of the brightest humans I've ever met in my life. So
Oh, thank
gosh.
you.
And
cheers
so
to you today, Elise.
so emotionally intelligent, and you
Yeah.
have taught me so much about how to communicate my emotions. So you are
Oh.
like a rock in my world too.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
We love you so much. Cheers to Elise.
Yeah, Elise.
Whoop, whoop. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. I hope you have a great weekend. Peace and love from everybody here at Spirit Coffee Talk. Catch you next time.